like Jennifer Aniston lost a nipple. And it's like, you wouldn't know that. No, she didn't.
Right.
Like, I don't believe you. Where is it then? If she lost it, where did it go? It just rolled away. I always thought that would be fun. I'm in a big sweatshirt and dirty socks.
God. Who's the boss? Well, I've never heard that before.
Who's Mrs. Truck? That doesn't make any sense. Hi, I'm Lindsay.
And I'm Connor.
And this is a chit chat with the chit-chatting rabbit-sing. Welcome back, everybody.
Yes, absolutely. This is a fireside chat. It's going to be more of a casual show where we talk about something that's been interesting us for a while. A little more casual, a little more laid back, but something that's been on our minds recently.
Yeah.
The subject this week that we want to talk about is
Bean soup.
Bean soup theory.
You've heard of it, almost certainly.
We've actually gotten a couple of comments about it, people talking about it in our comment section, and we wanted to address it formally because we think it's a very fascinating part of like internet culture, content creator culture, and I think it's a symptom of a much larger issue going on across social media.
Yes.
Lindsay.
Yes.
What do you know about bean soup?
I do know where it originated.
Okay.
Would you like to hear the history of bean soup theory?
I would love nothing more.
Okay. So humans have been eating wild legumes for about 30,000 years.
Okay.
This dates back to the Neanderthals, who we've been talking a lot about recently for some reason. They're really in the zeitgeist. But dental calculus shows evidence of wild pea consumption. And that dates back to around the Middle East and Thailand. That's when we started eating beans. So it all started there. But in a much more, okay, you didn't laugh nearly as much at that as I thought you were going to. You didn't even react.
Well, I want to listen to what you're saying. I want to make sure.
But I'm talking about Neanderthals eating beans. What does that have to do with what we're talking about? Nothing from you. My God. Okay, so the bean soup theory originated on TikTok, as all beautiful things do.
Yes, yeah.
In 2023, a creator named Vibing Granola Mom, who I do not know anything about, but I would like to ask her, how is Utah? How is that beautiful Salt Lake City? But she uploaded a video for, it was a recipe for bean soup. Mm-hmm. And the caption reads, "All my anemic girlies, this one is for you." And the main ingredient in this bean soup is, as you can imagine, a variety of beans. Followed by kale, some broth, maybe some onion. This is very innocuous content. How could anybody have a problem?
Really?
Well, you would be shocked how many people have a problem, actually. Because a lot of people started commenting things like, well, what if I don't like beans? I can't eat this. I'm allergic to beans. So can you please upload a video that's more inclusive to me? And thus the term bean soup theory was invented.
Yes.
Hi, friends. We just dove right into the conversation and did not give a strict definition of bean soup theory, so I'm going to give that to you right now. Bean soup theory is an internet phenomenon where social media users react egocentrically to public posts by demanding that content be customized to their personal preferences rather than scrolling past. And it started on that bean soup video because it's titled Bean Soup and the caption calls it bean soup. And still there are commenters saying, I don't like beans. Why would you make bean soup? Can we replace this bean soup with something else? And bean soup theory was born. Okay, back to us. Bye.
Which I don't think this is necessarily a new phenomenon that we're dealing with. This idea of like, especially around food, people get really sensitive about food.
I was just reading a David Sedaris essay collection recently, and he talks about how it's very hard to host a dinner party in America because everybody has different diets. It's like somebody's keto, somebody's allergic to meat. One person can't have any kind of legume. They're allergic to all legumes. You have a couple of vegetarians, of course, a couple of vegans. You have pescatarians. You have flexitarians. How do you cook a meal for people who don't eat the same things at all?
Right.
And it can be a little bit easier in other parts of the world where the culture is just a little bit more homogenous.
Yeah, for sure. I know. I think in America, we have so many cultures intermingling out here that it means a big clash of dietary inclusivity.
Oh boy. Yeah. I remember one time I was hosting a script reading at my old apartment in New York, and I invited a bunch of people over, and like an hour before people were due to show up, I realized, like half of the people I invited over were practicing Jewish.
Oh.
And I didn't have any kosher anything. it's just not something I think about.
Yeah.
So I was like, but luckily it's New York. So you throw a stone, you hit a kosher deli. So I just ran across the street and I asked the guy there, I was like, look, I'm hosting a party. People are coming over quickly. I completely forgot to get kosher food. Can you help me out? And God bless this man. He walked around with me with a basket and we got some like special cheeses and meats and stuff.
That's very sweet.
Huge relief. And then people didn't even eat it. I guess like I thought they were kosher. I thought they had mentioned it, but they're like, oh, I'm done with that now.
Yeah.
But still.
No, I've had to do the same thing. Like when I've hosted parties in the past, I've had friends who are Muslim and, you got to think, okay, I have to buy all beef. Like we can't buy regular hot dogs. We got to go beef hot dogs, like that kind of thing. And I go through painstakingly trying to make the menu more friendly. And then they're eating shellfish, they're drinking beer. It's fine.
Yeah.
It's like, okay.
I know some people take their diet very seriously and sometimes they're like, it's Friday. Who cares?
I know.
It's hard to tell.
You and I actually have something like this where you are diabetic.
Yeah. Type 1 diabetes, represent everybody.
Mm-hmm. When we first started dating, I knew you had diabetes because you told me, but I didn't really know what that meant yet as far as a diet goes. So for our second date, I invited you to come with me to a farmer's market, get some food and go on a picnic.
It was a good cheat code.
Yeah, at a local park. And I thought we're going to buy some fruits and maybe some snacks, some nuts, things like that.
Little did you know.
Little did I know.
I can't have any fun.
You can have exactly 2 blackberries before you're tapped out.
How about a nice basket of scrambled eggs? A little bit of Greek yogurt on top. Yum. Picnic time.
We finished the picnic, then we walked over to an Italian restaurant that specialized in deep dish pizza, which you cannot have.
No. I haven't had regular pizza in years. Isn't that sad?
Yeah, no. I think I
play the world's tiniest violin. Yeah.
So anyway, I think it's safe to say both of us are familiar with this concept of we want to make sure we're catering to people, of course.
Very much. I will say, just speaking for my own thing, I have a very particular diet. It's not easy. It's not something that you can even Google and know because every diabetic has their own diet. And some people eat keto. Some people just eat low carb. Some people don't restrict their carbs at all. They just take the insulin for their regular diet and, come what may, which I would give anything to live like that. I would give anything. What a superpower that is.
Yeah, no kidding.
But anytime one of my friends is planning a party, they always reach out and they're like, hey, we want to make sure you have stuff that you can eat. Like, what do you like? And I always give anything that you have is fine. Because I just eat beforehand. Yeah. Because I have such a particular diet. I'm not going to ruin everybody's fun by being like, hey, is this a keto tortilla? How many carbs are in this tortilla? I don't want to, it's not about me. It's an event. Everybody's coming over. They're providing food. I always find something I can eat. There's always a nice little white cheddar cheese or a nice little grape situation.
A veggie tray
get away with.
of some variety.
Exactly.
Yes.
So I think there is a matter of, when it comes to social events, I think there's a balance that you want to strike. It's like, if you have a boundary, especially when it comes to health and food, that's a really hard boundary to move around, you know? I think it's also very healthy to know that it's not about you all the time.
Yeah. Well, and I think that leads into a good talking point, which is the bean soup theory thing is something that is very much fueled by audience misunderstanding or audience self-imposing, right? That's really where the core of this thing is. It's the question of, well, what if I don't like beans? And it's like, buddy,
I don't think you want to make bean soup then.
I think bean soup might not be for you.
Wild conclusion to come to. I think you don't eat bean soup.
Right, exactly. And I think that can manifest in a lot of different ways, but now bean soup theory has come to mean that. It's come to mean this is not for you. Go somewhere else, which some people take great offense to being told that this thing is not for you.
And I would wager that some of that outrage is probably fueled by algorithm-induced entitlement.
Yes.
I think having a really strong algorithm like here on YouTube is really valuable because anybody can upload anything to YouTube. Mm-hmm. So if I was actually just getting a hodgepodge of stuff, I would be getting home videos, gaming videos, car racing videos. And these are not videos that I watch. These are not videos that I seek out or that I enjoy. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of nice to come to YouTube and oh, there's a woman talking about her creative process. Oh, there's a woman having a breakdown and cutting her bangs. And there's ASMR Tupperware lady who's just going through a tough time right now. That's my algorithm. And it's really nice because I generally see content that I am interested in.
Right.
And now even advertisements have that nice built-in algorithm. So I'm getting sold things that I'm actually interested in, which is Japanese stationery
Yes.
and backpacks.
Well, that's a really good point, which is like, it's a bit of a double-edged sword, right? Where we enjoy social media because it seems to know what we want to see before we know what that is.
Yeah.
Right. And the social media platforms that we use like that because it means we stay on the platform longer. We're more likely to stay on the platform longer.
Yeah. And part of that is really nice.
Yeah.
Like the other day I was thinking, I really want, this is such a silly thing. I'm almost 30 years old. I reckon maybe this is silly, but I really want another stuffed animal, like a stuffed deer.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why. I'm just getting this hankering for it. I watched Bambi a billion times as a kid and I just want a little stuffed deer. Okay.
Yeah.
And I just thought that quietly in my mind palace. And then instantly I like opened my phone an hour later. And what am I getting an ad for? A stuffed deer. Part of that is a little dystopian,
Yes.
a little creepy, a little Black Mirror, a little stalkerish. Please get out of my house, Jeff Bezos. But also it's kind of nice because it does simplify shopping.
It does. And seeing an advertisement for like a forklift would be the wrong thing for you, right?
Now I'm just angry. Now I'm just thinking about machinery and how much I hate it.
Yeah.
Like you're doing the opposite of selling it to me.
Exactly. And I think in large part, we have come to expect this kind of like being fed the next thing that we want. How many times have you and I looked for movies to watch? Like the other night, we were like, wow, we both really want to watch like a detective movie, something that really is going to hit that nice noir detective feeling.
Yeah, if you guys have good recommendations, please put them in the comments because Connor and I are struggling to find a new detective movie.
Right. Well, we go on Reddit and it's like Prisoners.
Like, you think I haven't seen Prisoners?
Exactly.
You think I haven't seen a Denis Villeneuve movie?
Yeah.
What do you take me for? Some kind of charlatan?
But my point is like, we were looking for probably about 10 or 15 minutes and we were like,
I gave up.
We gave up. We just started watching Good Will Hunting because we're like, yeah, after this journey, we need to feel good.
Yeah. Let me just stare at the wall for a second.
Right. But this idea of goodness that comes from being fed the thing that we want to see next. And that's something that has always been at the heart of like the industrial complex of creativity and creation, like television shows, movies. It's people guessing what audiences want to see, right? And it's audiences kind of giving signal back to those people. We do want to see this or we don't want to see this. And now it's just become almost scientifically honed to where it's happening a million times a second on the internet. Because you're right. On YouTube, there are millions of videos uploaded a day.
Yeah.
Right. And we don't want to watch any random video, right? We don't want to watch the video that some guy in Russia accidentally uploaded from his pocket, right?
I don't want to watch a man play Red Dead Redemption. God bless.
Yeah.
God bless. I just don't want to watch that. Gaming videos actually make me so nervous.
Really?
Yeah, I know. Sometimes I'll come out to the living room and Connor has like a gaming channel up on the TV and they're like playing a game and then there's also a live chat going on.
Yeah.
And they're responding to both. And it's so overwhelming. I feel like I'm being rushed into a fraternity.
Yeah. It's a
I don't want to be there.
Stimulation nightmare.
Yeah. I need a woman quietly reading a book in a park. That is my content.
Exactly. But that feeling of expectation of wanting the next thing to be catered to us, I think has led to a lot of audience selfishness or audience expectation for, well, why isn't it what I want? Why is this thing not what I want?
Like, why is this video for bean soup showing up when I don't like beans?
Right.
Like they're angry, not really at the creator because not everybody in the world hates beans. And like, that's, of course, I think like, obviously, I hope that's obvious. But I think the anger is really directed at the algorithm or at the app that is quote unquote failing the person who's using it. It's a lot of misdirected anger, which is rampant on the internet.
Very much so. And I think it's exactly right. It's not that we are upset at the bean soup lady. It's that how dare TikTok show me a video that is not catered to my needs?
Yeah, but because you can't send TikTok an email, you just leave something underneath this creator's video.
Right.
You know, saying, why would you put kale next to beans? That's disgusting. She's like, then I guess you shouldn't make my soup.
Exactly. Which is so funny because I don't know if you remember this. I remember an age of the internet where nothing was catered.
No.
It was just you would Google something and a million links would pop up to random websites and you just had to filter out whatever you wanted to see. You would have to click through them and go, okay, this isn't really what I'm looking for next thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I think that's where the advent of like chat rooms and forums came in, because you would have forums dedicated to very specific topics or hobbies or interests. And you could go there to find the thing that you wanted. But the internet used to be a very Wild West space where nothing was catered to you. You had to really dig through and look for it. And it seems like with the advent of like algorithms and personal taste algorithms that have come out, we've lost that muscle to kind of like trudge through the muck a little bit to find the thing we're searching for.
And then you don't appreciate the content that you do find that really appeals to you as much, because I think we're so inundated with it that it no longer means as much, because you didn't really have to do anything to find it. It was frictionless for you to find it.
That's a really good point, Lindsay. Yeah, it's like pistachios, you know?
Yes.
I love pistachios, but I will never buy them shelled because it takes away the enjoyment of pistachios. You know what I mean?
Yeah, then they're not as good.
Right. They really, truly, I believe if you did a blind taste test of pistachios that you had to shell yourself versus a pistachio that you were just handed and got to eat, I think the ones you had to shell yourself would taste better.
You think so?
I think so. Absolutely. It's kind of like oranges. When you peel an orange, it tastes better, I think.
I have no opinion on this.
That's okay.
I can't connect to this at all.
Where do you think this like lack of empathy from an audience comes from? Because I think that's what is at the center of this thing. It's a lack of empathy that an audience member has. Because we walk around, and I think we are generally empathic as people in day-to-day life. But when it comes to the internet, something clicks in our brains where we suddenly relate less and less to people on the internet.
I don't want to be a semantic asshole.
Okay.
But I don't really believe in empathy the way that we talk about it.
Okay.
Empathy meaning I look at somebody who's experiencing something that I myself have not ever experienced, but I can connect and feel what it is to be them. I don't actually think that's possible. I wrote about this a little bit on why artists are so selfish.
Yes.
I've talked about solitude and how you can never truly know what it's like to be another person. And I think that holds true. I think what we're really looking for is probably more sympathy or understanding or flexibility in understanding, okay, I don't like beans. Beans make me sick. They're kind of ugly. They freak me out. They're disgusting. I know they're high in fiber, but they're enemy numero uno for me. But looking at another person and seeing them enjoy bean soup and being able to say, well, yeah, I mean, we just have different taste, literally.
Yeah.
You know, I think that's a different skill set than empathy. I'm just a little skeptical of the way that we talk about empathy in modern day culture.
I agree. And I think the way that you talked about it in your video on artists being selfish, I think did a great job of kind of unwinding that thread.
The best example I can think of is August Wilson. You know who August Wilson is?
I'm not familiar.
He is probably the premier Black American playwright. He wrote Fences.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
He's fabulous. If you're at all interested in theater, you have to read August Wilson. It's August Wilson and Tennessee Williams. Start there, and then the whole world will open up to you. So August Wilson wrote pretty exclusively about the Black experience in America. And there is a real noticeable lack of white women across his work. I mean, I don't know if they ever show up, but if they do, it's like a postal worker in the background, you know?
I see.
And he actually spoke about that in an interview decades ago. Somebody asked him about it, of course. And he responded like, I have no way in for a white woman. I have no idea what it's like to be a white woman in the world. I'm not really interested in figuring it out. So I just don't write from that experience.
Yeah.
I'm just not interested and I don't know. And that kind of taps into like this idea that I'm talking about empathy. I don't think August Wilson would look at a white woman who's like just been hit by a car and be like, well, I'm not getting anything from that. I don't think she's hurting at all. He would. It's just as far as what her experience is in the world, it's so separate from his own. It's like, I actually have no clue. I want the best for you, but I can't get involved.
Right. Well, and I think that really is, gosh, that's so interesting to me because it really represents what art can be, which is a window into something else, right? Again, take August Wilson's stories like Fences. In that same token, a white woman would have trouble getting directly into the perspective that August Wilson writes from.
Oh, yeah.
But
he doesn't write for white women.
He doesn't write for white women. But there is something to still be shared there. They all bring... a white woman or an Asian man would bring their perspective into the thing and be able to relate it to their own lives, but they won't ever be able to get 100% of that feeling.
No, right? Exactly.
I think about that interview with Denzel Washington, right? Where somebody asked him, like, do you think a white director could have made this movie? And he's like, they could have, But there's a culture thing that's tied to this. You know, a white director, Martin Scorsese, doesn't know what a hot comb smells like when it hits your hair on a Saturday.
Right.
And that's the thing. We're always, as artists, we're always trying to inject the thing with honesty. And it's like, how do you do that without taking something that's deeply personal? You had a really good line in your Artists Are Selfish video, which is specificity creates universality.
Yeah.
You know,
the more specific you can get, the more universal it will be. August Wilson did not write Fences for me, but it is one of my favorite plays.
Yeah.
I get a lot out of reading that play, and he didn't even write it with me in mind. Like, that's what good art can do, is it can be very specific in its exploration to the point where you can see yourself in it. This is why, like, people love Phoebe Bridgers' songwriting, because it's very specific, but in that specificity, there's a great amount of universality happening. So it's a big conversation going on right now between like Phoebe Bridgers' songwriting versus Gracie Abrams' songwriting,
Sure.
which we touched on a little bit in our last video. Very interesting differences there.
Yeah. Well, and so I think this leads into the idea of like art being challenging, and how it seems like we're losing, I think audiences are losing the ability to be challenged by art. You know, art at its core is kind of supposed to be difficult to understand. Not because it's supposed to be made with obfuscation in mind, but because it's like this, it's difficult to be empathetic, right? When we look at a painting, when we watch a movie, we are supposed to engage with it. We were talking about that this morning, where some people don't honestly engage with like books that they read or movies that they watch.
Mm-hmm.
And they also get to have the same amount of like noise and opinion as anybody else, but they come at it from a place of like, I won't even call it dishonesty, but it's a lack of trying. It seems like trying has kind of been removed from a lot of the audience experience.
And again, I think it's because we've invented this frictionless atmosphere that so many of us spend hours of our days living inside of, that the moment any friction does introduce itself, it's jarring.
Yeah.
And very confusing. We're not used to it. It's sort of like this conversation surrounding boy moms. How like mothers treat their sons very differently. They're very willing to step in and do everything for them.
Sure.
They don't have to cook. They don't have to do dishes. They don't have to do their chores. They don't have to do homework. If the teacher is, you know, really pushing him in a certain area, well, I'm going to step in and put a stop to that. And then soon enough, you have a young man who is incapable of taking care of himself.
Yeah.
Because you have removed all friction from his life for 18 years. And so now he doesn't know how to vacuum. He doesn't know how to do his laundry.
Exactly.
You are raising an incompetent young man because you are removing friction from his life. And you can't do that. You can't do that forever, because life is friction. It's very difficult out here.
It is.
I think if you expect everything to just go smooth sailing, life is going to beat the shit out of you.
Yeah. You've been taught to expect the wrong thing.
Yeah.
You know,
I think when things are smooth and easy, that's a great time to do what Kurt Vonnegut says, which is like, look around and say, gee whiz, if this isn't nice, I don't know what is. Those are moments to really appreciate, because it's not going to be like that for most of the time. Most of the time, it's friction. You got to get your new passport. You got to vacuum the rug. You got to get ready because mom's coming to visit. So we got to go to the store. We got to get Diet Coke.
Right.
Like
yeah. Well, I think it's both a chance for reflection, appreciation, and preparation. You know what I mean? I think about working on set. Working on set is a really hard job.
Yeah.
You work 12 hours a day, sometimes 13, 14 hours a day.
Physically demanding.
It's physically demanding, and for 5 or 6 days a week. And I know when I work on set, what ends up happening is my laundry piles up. I don't clean my dishes very well.
I'm eating out of a bag.
You know, but then when the show is done, I've got like a month between this show and the next show. I catch up on sleep. I appreciate the time I have, right?
Oh, yeah.
I go on walks outside.
And I'm like, God, look at that sunbeam. I've never seen such a beautiful sun. It's because we've been working at night for 2 months.
Exactly.
And I'm like, you know, I've never really appreciated 3 p.m. Any other day, 3 p.m. is my least favorite time. That's when I'm at my grumpiest. But yeah, post set, you're right. I'm walking around like, what a gorgeous afternoon.
Right. And then there's also preparation. You're doing your laundry, you're catching up on emails, and you're getting ready for the next show.
Yeah.
Right. I think there's a lot of that in the peacetime. It's about we are constantly at war, and then sometimes there's peacetime. Right. And that peacetime you need to use that wisely, I think. And appreciation is definitely a big part of that, you know?
And also, I don't think there's anything wrong with seeing a recipe that includes an ingredient that maybe you don't reach for, that you're a little skeptical of, and considering trying it.
Yeah.
Like, you know what? I don't love beans, this soup looks pretty good.
Yeah.
It might be worth giving it a shot.
I know. I think it's important that like people stretch out their thing, like they step out of their comfort zone a little bit. I've been trying to do that this year with like my reading habits. Somebody pointed out last year, and it was something I didn't even notice, but we did a video about the books that we read last year.
Mm-hmm.
We did a kind of a book roundup, and somebody commented, it's like that. I think I read one female author last year of all the books I read, which I didn't even really clock. And I was like, you know what? That's not, I should be trying to step outside of my comfort zone a little bit with like the authors that I read and the content that I read. And I've been doing that this year, and it's been, I think, better for me. It's been challenging. There have been some books and it's like, this is not, it's the fences thing. It's like, I'm not really resonating with some of the themes here, but overall it's been great for me to like stretch my brain. And it feels like I'm doing things that are new that I wouldn't have otherwise done if I'd kept reading, Brandon Sanderson over and over and over again. And I think we're losing out on that. I think people are starting to lack that. And I sometimes wonder, I'm curious what you think, how much this is due to things like chatbots as well, and the rise of like AI and LLMs.
This was certainly an issue before the rise of LLMs.
Absolutely.
LLMs has just underlined it. I think all of the problems that we as humanity are facing just got underlined by chatbots. None of these are new problems. Now they're just like in big, bold capital letters.
I think the word for that is a force multiplier.
There we go.
I think LLMs become a force multiplier for these problems.
Yes. I also think this idea of bean soup theory kind of ties into something that I've been noticing recently.
Okay.
I never noticed this until we started making content on the internet.
Okay.
And I started writing scripts for an internet audience. Because now, let's say there's a point I want to make, but I am kind of anticipating the arguments that are going to be put against it, and the comments that could be like, well, you didn't really include this group of people, and that's kind of an exception, and you didn't bring up this thing, and that also kind of changes the context. So now, instead of just making the point that I want to make, and having some benefit of the doubt that I am including all of this, I feel the need to like go off on 3 or 4 tangents just to be like, and I recognize that this ingredient is a little bit different, and I recognize that if you're allergic to legumes, you can't eat it, and I also want to give a shout out to this special group of people, and I can't just say the thing that I want to say because I need to make all of these exceptions because I want people to feel included. And I've noticed recently how many content creators do that. They have this language where they're constantly justifying their thoughts, their feelings, their jokes, and what they're talking. And 95% of the time I hear them do that, I don't think they needed to do that.
Right.
I was like, well, I was already including that group of people in this category. Or like, I didn't think you meant that. Why would I think you mean that? That's so not the point that you're making. But it's the internet. And I think the internet expects you to tip your hat in their direction as many times as you physically can.
That is something I want to talk about. I think that blends really nicely into kind of the next thing I was thinking about, which is like this idea of being a creator on the internet and how parasociality lends to a lot of misunderstanding accidentally, right? Where you and I have been making content on the internet now for a little over a year, and it's been great. We have such a great audience, and I really like the people that have come to like watch our content regularly. And it really warms my heart whenever we get a good comment saying, I love hanging out with you guys. I love watching the thing with you guys. I'm on my late night work shift and that kind of thing. And you guys keep me company.
I love hearing what you guys do. It always makes me emotional.
It really warms my heart. And I recognize that like, it's not a perfect exchange. They feel like they know us because they've spent a lot of hours with us if they've watched a lot of our content.
Yeah.
And we don't really get to know them.
No.
I recognize a lot of the names in our comments section, but I don't know who they are. I don't have the kind of context that they have with us. And I think what's tough is that parasociality is one direction.
Yeah.
It's towards the people on screen. And what ends up happening is when you're watching someone on screen, you think they're talking directly to you.
Yeah.
Right? That's the context.
Well, the intimacy of online content creation. Like you record information or you record videos in a bedroom most of the time or in your house, which is a very intimate place to be. And then people watch it in their bedroom, in their house. This is a very intimate place. So like it feels like we're two friends hanging out on the kitchen island having wine.
Yeah.
And that's part of the appeal of the internet is because with classical like celebrities and authors, you don't have access to them.
Right. They're so far away.
Yeah. Like Andrew Garfield. The only things you know about Andrew Garfield are things that he wants you to know. And when he gives an interview, it's all been gone over with like his PR team, his agent. Okay, I'm going to do this interview. We're going to talk about this movie. I'm not talking about my ex-girlfriends. I'm not talking about my current girlfriend. I'm not talking about the kind of underwear that I wear.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just going to talk about the movie and my process. And that's what we're talking about. And that's what we know.
Right.
And so it feels very much with celebrities like you're being held at arm's length distance. But with the internet, that distance closes.
And I think that's like why tabloid culture is such a big thing, is because tabloids pick up on the things that they don't want you to know, right?
Very genuine question.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not trying to be facetious or shitty at all.
Yeah.
At all in any way. What is the appeal of tabloids? I have never read them. My mom and I, we would go to the grocery store, early aughts when the tabloids in the US were, I think, especially egregious.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think they're as egregious now. And we would just giggle. We'd be like, how would they know that?
Yeah.
Like Jennifer Aniston lost a nipple? And it's like, you wouldn't know that. They know she didn't.
Right.
Like, I don't believe you. How she where is it then?
It's
if she lost it, where did it go? It just rolled away. She woke up one morning and it was on the other side of the room.
Well, on the other side of that is like, how did she lose her nipple? I have to know.
Is that it? It's just like intrigue?
Well, it is the classical, I think tabloids were kind of the first wave of clickbait culture in modern media.
For sure.
Right?
I just don't see the appeal.
No, but I think you actually just kind of said what the appeal is. It's like tabloids are always kind of centered around celebrity, right?
Yes.
And celebrities are so manicured and fabricated.
That anytime you see an opening.
Anything. Any little opening. It doesn't have to be good or bad. It just has to be an opening.
Interesting. I just don't have that relationship with celebrities. I don't know why. Even celebrities that I love, like Conan O'Brien, I would never pick up a magazine that said Conan O'Brien and his wife suck. I don't believe you.
No.
And if that's true, there's going to be an article in Rolling Stone about it.
Yeah.
There's going to be some Atlantic article. There's going to be an essay written by a former employee. Like I'll absorb that information. I really just glaze over when tabloids come into the picture. In the same way that reality TV just kind of makes me fall asleep a little bit. I'm like, who are these people? What do they do? Why are they famous? And it's like, well, she broke up with her boyfriend on TV. So now she has $1 million house. That's the trade-off? I don't get it.
Yeah, I know. Well, and I think something here is, you mentioned it before, is the intimacy that we feel when we watch people on the internet. And I don't think it is unlike the intimacy that I have felt when I read an essay where the person writing the essay says something that's like, oh, wow, that's something I've thought about in my head, but I've never been able to put into words like this. It kind of draws a direct line of understanding between people, right? And I think at least when I engage with art, I'm always looking for that, whether I know it or not. It's like I'm looking for the thing that makes me go, oh, somebody else is out there experiencing the same thing. You know what I mean?
Hearing another writer talk about how much they hate bureaucracy, actually, it's like Vicks vapor rub on my heart.
Yeah.
It's so soothing.
Yeah.
Oh, thank God I'm not alone. I'm not the only person who's driven crazy by these weird red line rules. Like, oh, you lost that sticker. That'll be $600.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, and I think that's why we're so quick to defend artists, even when they do something wrong. We're quick to defend the artists that mean something to us.
Because we resonate with them.
So
maybe in some ways, when somebody that we really love gets canceled, it feels like we're getting canceled in some way.
I think so, because people are looking at the thing about them and going, well, I have that thing too.
Yeah.
Right. And it makes us feel like we have to have some kind of shame about it or hide it. And maybe we do, maybe we don't. But it feels deeply personal no matter what. And what's interesting is I think when it comes to video content, the iJustine thing where she's talking to us on her floor of her bedroom, it's almost like a bit of like that feeling, but on steroids, right? Where when it comes to essays or books or writing or movies, where we have that moment of connection, it feels like it's almost an automatic connection. It's like we feel very intimate because we're in an intimate space with this person from the jump. And they almost don't have to earn it a little bit. It's almost like it's an automatic thing that's already there from the start. And that can lead to a lot of that messiness that comes from the parasocial relationship between audience and creator. I think that's why a lot of streamers end up having a lot of stalkers, because they're online all the time and you see a lot of them being unfiltered, right? Especially the IRL streamers.
Do you think so? Listen.
Okay, tell me.
I don't have a Twitch account. I don't watch Twitch streamers. I don't know anything about this culture. So I'm coming in completely ignorant. I really am.
Great.
From the little that I do know about these stalking situations in that community, I think a lot of the victims tend to be women, and they tend to be very beautiful women who I think cater more towards a male audience, and then men, instead of just feeling parasocial in terms of like, oh, I think we could be friends, or like, oh, you kind of get me. They think that they're dating.
Yes.
I think that's a different thing.
I think that is one thing. And I think there's a separate thing of like seeing somebody live all the time creates a different dynamic than seeing something curated.
Oh, like it feels more like you're on live stream, literally with somebody, not live stream, but it feels like you're on FaceTime or something with somebody.
That's exactly right.
Interesting.
Yeah. Because, we don't like to talk about it, but live streaming now kind of started with like the adult film industry with like cam girl sites and that kind of thing.
Did it really? Hi guys, this is editing Lindsay and Connor coming to you to clear up a few things. Live streaming does not have its roots in cam girl content. It actually has its roots in the music industry, oddly enough. Apparently, in 1993, a couple of computer scientists and engineers from a band called Severe Tire Damage performed their gig and decided to try out some live streaming technology, and that is generally considered the birthplace of modern day live streaming. Bill Clinton did it in 1999 for a presidential campaign, and it really blew up in about 2008 when YouTube hosted a live event, and Smosh participated, Mythbusters was there, Bo Burnham was there, all these big YouTube guys. So that's actually the history of live streaming, which is way more interesting than I gave it credit for. So, okay, back to the episode.
Live phone lines where you could call in and somebody would talk about what they were wearing.
Interesting.
You know what I mean?
I always thought that would be fun. I'm in a big sweatshirt and dirty socks.
God. Somebody out there is into that.
I doubt it. My Cookie Monster pajama pants.
But I think what's tough is you and I have talked about this a lot. I don't think everybody should be or is ready to be someone with an audience.
Oh, we were talking about this yesterday.
Yeah.
Where we were talking about Jools LeBron.
Mm-hmm.
I hate to see what's happening to her right now. It actually makes me just want to shake the world. But Jools LeBron, if you're not familiar, went uber viral, like 2 years ago?
I think so, yeah.
For saying, so demure.
Right.
Very cute, very demure. That's Jools LeBron.
Mm-hmm.
And she went super viral. And like a lot of people who go super viral, I think then there's a podcast, then there's merch, then there's like special pillows you can buy, then there's a tour, and there's all this stuff. And there's a ton of money. It's like hitting the lottery. Like suddenly you go from working a 9-to-5 for minimum wage, or I think Jools LeBron was actually unemployed at the time that she made that video.
Mm-hmm.
And now all of a sudden you have like 10 grand a month pouring in. And it's like money that you are not accustomed to using or having. So now you have it and you don't know what to do with it, because financial literacy is not something that we teach in the education system. And I don't think it's something that most of us learn from our parents.
Mm-hmm.
So you suddenly have money and you don't know what to do with it. You're like, well, I'll just spend it. And I don't think she knew that money is not taxed. So you have to set money aside for taxes.
Yeah.
If you receive anything for free, quote unquote, from a brand, you have to pay taxes on that too, which I didn't know until very recently. I was complaining to Connor. I'm like, when do we get some free stuff? And he was like, well, we got to pay taxes on it. And I was like, I don't want anything.
Don't send me anything.
If anybody sends me anything, I'm sending it right back.
Exactly.
With a mean letter attached.
I don't want a mattress. I don't want headphones.
Yeah. And then how much it costs to have a PR person, to have a stylist, to have a manager, to have an agent. That money starts to vanish very quickly.
It does.
And I think that sounds like what happened to Jools LeBron. She had all this money, but she didn't really know what to do with it. And so now she needs dental surgery, which you know better than any other person in America, how expensive dental work is.
Yeah.
We need to address that, by the way. I'm at war with a lot of people. I won't say that dentists are number one on that list, but they're in the top 10 after what they've done to you.
I think what dentists do is absolutely such a skillful profession. And they need to be paid and compensated for what they do.
Yes, you should absolutely live in a big, beautiful house.
100%.
And why are we paying $60,000 for a tooth extraction?
Yeah. I mean,
explain that to me.
I won't go into it too much. My mouth at this point has had easily over $100,000 worth of stuff on it.
And it's not fixed.
Between braces and extractions and dental work.
Bone grafts,
veneers, like And I've got an extenuating case because my teeth all got knocked out. You know, that's tough.
But Jules LeBron is in a very similar position. And now she's hosting a GoFundMe campaign to raise money for this dental surgery. And people are like, I thought you were making great money. And she's like, I was.
Right.
I was. I'm not making that kind of money anymore.
Yeah.
And that's another thing that's tricky about like content creator space and why most people will give you the advice, like, don't do it full time, do something else, is because it's very come and go. It can disappear literally overnight.
Exactly. It could be feast and famine.
Yeah.
I think it's really hard to make a middle class living on content creation.
Yeah. I mean, think about somebody like Grace Helbig, which if you've been on YouTube for a long time, you'll recognize Grace Helbig. She's very funny. She did like all this comedic content back in the early aughts. I watched her a ton when I was in high school. I thought she was so funny. And then for some reason, like I just stopped engaging with her content. And a little while ago, I was like, whatever happened to Grace Helbig? And I like looked her up. And yeah, she's not making as much content as she was before. She's certainly not making as much money as she was before, but she's always kept these like other side projects going. And that's just what happens. Like some people are able to stay on the platform and stay, you know, in the top 10 creators for long periods of time. But for the most part, tastes come and go. They change. Audiences grow up or move on for whatever reason. And the money is not consistent.
No, not at all.
So even at your peak, it's not going to be consistent. I think some months, super top creators are making like $70,000 on brand deals. And then the next month, it's $0. It's very much like the film industry. When you're working, the money is really good.
Exactly.
But you only work like 2 months out of the 12. And those other 10 months, like you need to be smart with your money.
Yeah. Well, and I think the comparison you made is actually incredibly apt, which is it seems like it's hitting the lottery. And what we said yesterday was not everybody's ready to hit the lottery, but there are some people who would be. A CPA, someone who's like trained in accounting and financial literacy,
probably ready to go viral,
would handle hitting the lottery very well.
Yeah.
Way better than somebody who works at a gas station or just has a regular 9 to 5 and is looking to get out of retail.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Maybe has some debt and like has never seen that kind of money before and therefore really doesn't know what to do with it. It's not a knock against people who haven't come into this kind of money.
No.
None of us really, we say top 1% because that's the top 1% of people grow up with money. The other 99% of us just don't. We just don't have money.
Yeah.
So then it's like, if your net worth is like $3,000 one day and then you wake up and suddenly it's $100,000, that's a massive change. You don't have any time to adapt your habits at all.
No.
So I feel terrible for Jules LeBron. What a shitty situation.
I know that is a very tough situation to be in.
It also just makes me angry because like, was nobody helping her? Did any accountant at any point call her and say, hey, here's my recommendation? Did no manager stepped in and said, hey, let's make some long-term investments? Like, I just feel so angry. Like, help people out. That's your whole job. You're their team. Pass them the ball.
Yeah. Well,
God.
This is a frustration you and I have like with the media industry at large, like not just film, but everything involving media, is it seems to be full of vultures and sharks, people who just want to latch on to the next big thing and extract as much possible and then leave and go to the next thing. I think the way this all relates to Bean Soup is like the idea of communication and how communication seems to be a skill that's being lost over time. Like clear communication, concise communication, and communication is a skill when it comes to creating content, right? And much like Jules LeBron wasn't ready to go viral and make all that money, I think a lot of creators are not ready or do not have the communication skills that they need yet to communicate to an audience that's bigger than the one they've already curated, right? And that can lead to a lot of confusion and a lot of feelings of, well, why isn't this for me? Because they don't know how to communicate effectively to the people that might be watching. And that communication problem can lead to bigger problems down the line, especially when platforms like YouTube and Instagram and TikTok are constantly trying to push audiences to new things. You know what I mean? So we're on these social media platforms. And part of the platform thing is like, they want your audience to grow. They do. They want to show your videos to as many people as possible. And what ends up happening is you get introduced to people who are not familiar with your work. Right?
Right.
And because of that, they get to come in with no context. We've talked about this.
It's like having a conversation in a public park.
Yes.
And you have like a group around you that's kind of participating in the debate. And it's like, we're kind of going back and forth and it feels pretty productive. And then people are also walking by and just hearing snippets and responding to those snippets.
Yeah.
And then continuing on with their day. It's like, well, That's not a super helpful way to have a conversation because you don't have any context on the conversation that took place before you got here. You don't have any context on us who are hosting the talk or like the other people who have been participating in it. You just like yelled your opinion and then got on a bus and drove away.
And it kept going. Yeah.
Like, was it supposed to be productive?
Exactly. And we've talked about this a lot where it's like every video we post, there's a good to fair chance that some people will come in and it's the first time they've ever been exposed to us.
Yeah.
And they don't have any of the context surrounding us. We haven't built up any goodwill in their eyes as like fair and balanced people to have a conversation.
We're just strangers.
We're just strangers, you know? And that's why it's like, we make a joke about it. Like you always talk about going to USC or having diabetes, or I always talk about working with HBO or missing teeth. And it's like, but that's kind of important context every time because we don't know who it's their first time here and they don't know that about us, right? Because what ends up happening is 200 episodes down the line, somebody tries to come in. It's like, there's so many in jokes. This isn't even penetrable. I don't even know how to get into this thing.
Yeah.
You know? And that's a tough line to kind of balance on when it comes to being a person who makes content.
But I think there is a feeling, at least I feel this way as a viewer, where if I click on somebody's video and I'm not familiar with them at all, and then they're speaking and I am kind of looking at the comments, I'm trying to figure out what's the tone of this channel, what's their vibe, what kind of videos do they usually make? I'm watching the video kind of at like a distance. I'm like, I'm not going to get super involved or like invested because I'm not totally sure where I'm at yet.
Yeah.
It takes me a few interactions with their content before I'm like, okay, no, I like the things they choose to talk about. I like their tone. They're funny. The length of their videos is really good. Their pacing is good. I like them. Like I'm into them. And then I'll follow.
Yeah.
But there's this like kind of waiting period. And I don't know how other people view content. Like, I don't know if other people click on a video and it's like within 5 seconds, they're like, yeah, or no. Or if they're more volatile. Like, I just assume everyone's evil until I see proof otherwise, you know?
That's a really good point because there's a concept in marketing and like product marketing where it's like a person has to interact with something 3 or 4 or 5 times.
I think it's 7.
Is it 7 times?
7 times before they will buy in.
Yes.
And like actually just look at the website. Not even buy anything. Just look at the website.
Just engage with it. Yeah. But I mean, you know, think about this. Like we watch Papa Meat sometimes, like Meat Canyon.
Yeah.
Imagine having no context for who he is and then jumping into a video where it's like he has these grotesque monsters talking to him and he's like in this weird house and, you know, that's tough, but it still works. And you and I love it. We think he's a great creator, but it's a weird thing to buy into. But I think he's defined himself so well that it doesn't bug him when people come in and don't know what's going on. And I think that leads to this idea of like finding people who fuck with the vision. You know, we've talked about this so much. There's a thing that we don't want to make art for everybody. And I don't think art should be made for everybody. I think art should be made for people who fuck with the vision.
Yeah. There are people who don't like David Bowie.
Yeah,
you know
that's very true.
There are people who listen to Space Oddity and they don't say, I need to write a play about this. They say, turn that off. Dad.
That's like, I don't really like the Beatles that much.
I don't either.
And they're one of the most lauded bands in music history.
I had a bar of soap and then you took my soap. La da 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 da. That's how they sound to me. Yeah. I just can't get into it.
Well, I'm curious what your thoughts on this are because we've talked about it in a couple of our recent videos, but I think something that the bean soup theory is kind of dance around is this idea of what does an audience get to ask of artists and how much do artists need to cater to their audience?
That is interesting. I saw a video recently from a creator who's been on the platform for a long time, I think like 10 years. And her audience for a long time was very small because she uploads gardening content. She's like, I plant flowers. I talk about potato plants. We talk about different weather, different insects that can affect your garden, all that stuff. And then within the last couple of years, for obvious reasons, she shifted into political content. And she was uploading news. She was reacting to articles. She was interviewing people. It was every day. Because when you're a news channel, you have to talk about everything all the time.
Capital C content.
Yeah. And then after, I think it's been about 2 years of that, she uploaded this video explaining like, I'm burnt out. I'm absolutely exhausted. It's a really negative headspace to be in every day, just absorbing bad news all day, every day, trying to communicate it to people, arguing with people, trying to organize, being an activist. Being an activist is the hardest thing in the world. Trying to get someone to care about something that you care so much about, researching it, trying to get grant money for it. It sucks. It sucks. Every activist I know burns out within a year.
Yeah.
They're like, I need a break. I need a 9-to-5 at a bank because I cannot keep doing this. It's just, I'm living on pennies and nobody cares and nothing is changing. It's exhausting. So she uploaded this video explaining, hey, I have a lot of new subscribers now because I've been uploading political content and news content. I just want to let you know that I'm not going to be doing that anymore. I'm going back to gardening. Mm-hmm. It's not because I don't care, but I need this to be a different outlet for me. And I'm interested in putting out different content. And she lost a lot of subscribers. And I saw something similar happen to Jamie French, who's also been on the platform for a long time. She used to upload makeup content. Mm-hmm. And then a few years ago, she uploaded a video saying, I don't want to do makeup anymore. I just want to stick to comedy. And her channel really struggled for a while. But now it seems like she's kind of back in the swing of things and she does exclusively like comedy content and commentary.
Yeah.
I think it's really tough to pivot when you're a content creator because you get one thing. This is especially true on TikTok where like you're the rug lady, which means you're the lady who cleans rugs. Or you're the guy who cleans dishes and gives out life advice. Mm-hmm. That's the thing that you do. That's how tiny your niche is. And it can be really difficult to expand beyond that without losing your audience because these platforms are so inundated with content, audiences want something that's reliable. They know exactly what they're getting. I'm just going to go watch Tell the Bees because I know what I'm getting. I'm going to get thoughtful social commentary.
Yes.
And it's a relief.
Yeah. Well, and I think that's a good point, which is like this idea of pigeonholing. Platforms reward you for pigeonholing yourself.
They do.
Which can make it really hard to get out of that pigeonhole, right?
And to be creative and to like shift over time. Mm-hmm. How do you grow with your audience without losing what appealed them to you in the first place?
Exactly. Or how do you attract a new audience that's going to be there with the thing you're trying to do?
Yeah.
Right? And I think that's something that we're seeing Mr. Beast struggle with.
Really?
I think so. His views have gone down pretty significantly over time. And the theory is part of that is like his audience is just aging out of it.
That's what I was thinking. The boys are growing up.
Right. Well, and you're a working writer. And like, I remember I was listening to the Script Notes podcast years ago, and John August and Craig Mazin were talking about this, where it's like writers worry about pigeonholing themselves constantly.
Oh, yeah.
And in the film and TV world, that's a very real thing because John August himself kind of got pigeonholed into, my first successful movie was Big Fish. I'm now known as the guy who does adaptation movies, right? How do I break out of that? And his advice was like, just do
it.
You just have to do it.
Yeah.
The thing with pigeonholing is it only works if you let it work.
Yeah.
Right? If the thing that you're doing is good, people will show up. If you plant a garden, somebody is going to appreciate the flowers that are growing.
Yeah. It's like what you talked about in your literacy video. It's really important that artists make things that light them up.
Yes.
It's great to make things for an audience. You should absolutely do that. I love the idea of art as service. It also has to service you in some way. Like, what do you want? I think for a long time, I really fought against myself because for a long time, the dream was to be on SNL.
Yeah.
I was a kid very invested in comedy. I wanted to be on Saturday Night Live. I thought for sure that was the dream. And it turned out like, no, not really. I don't really actually want to do that. I don't like sketch writing. Mm-hmm. Well, that's not going to go over really well. That's their thing, Liz.
Right, that's kind
what
of
do
the
you
whole
think?
thing.
But I had a hard time letting that go for a long time. I was like, at some point I had to really be honest with myself and be like, I don't want to write sketches. I love dark comedies. I like longer form writing. I like scripts. I like TV. I like screenplays. I like stage plays. I don't like sketches so much.
Yeah.
And I just had to like let that go.
And that's okay.
It's
right?
fine.
I think a lot of artists
I don't regret it.
No, of course not. Yeah.
I don't want to be on SNL.
I think a lot of artists need to get more comfortable with the idea of like pivoting and changing is not a failure.
No.
It's growth. You can make anything growth. And I think the lack of pivoting is what leads people to being pigeonholed.
Very much.
I think all of this leads to the conversation of the problem with creating art in the public square of the internet, right?
Yeah.
There's a theory. I heard Internet Shaquille talk about it. I love Internet Shaquille's videos. And he made actually a video about bean soup theory, but he talked about the idea of context collapse. And it's this kind of broader idea that all of us, even if we're not creating something, we have audiences in our life that we are catering to or making content for the way we live our life, right?
Yes, yeah.
This can most likely, I think a good example is something like a private Facebook profile where you post pictures of yourself, your family, you going to parties, you getting drunk, you doing a wild thing in a vacation in Miami, right? That is one audience of a thing in your life versus your LinkedIn profile page.
Yeah.
Where it's like professionals, people who want to hire you, people you're trying to network with. Audience collapse is when both of those audiences join together and there's no separation between the two.
Yeah. I mean,
right?
We experience this in our social lives.
We
Like
do.
I have friends that I have through grad school, friends that I knew in undergrad, friends that I have known since high school. Those are three very different versions of Lindsay, those three groups got. So if they ever meet, which I think they have actually on one particular instance, I was very jarred. I was like, oh boy.
When your friend groups meet and like one of them has a different nickname for you than somebody else, I'm like, who?
Yeah.
Who's the boss? Well, I've never heard that before.
Who's Mrs. Truck? That doesn't make any sense. You're like, I have to explain it. It doesn't make any sense to you.
Right. And so I think the internet is rife with this idea of like context collapse. Again, because it's trying to show as much to everybody as possible.
And you can't have context on everybody. Even content creators that I love, I haven't seen all of their videos. I think there's one channel that I've actually seen every video they've put out.
Really?
And everybody else, I missed one or I joined their community well after they had like 100+ videos and I just haven't watched all 100 videos. So like I don't have the full context of their channel.
Right.
And these are people that I enjoy, let alone people I just kind of casually watch, you know, who they have like 1,000 videos on their channel. I've only seen like 5 of them,
Yeah. Well, I think what's troubling is like this kind of communication kerfuffle, I'll say, gets in the way of like what might actually be honest audience interaction.
Yeah.
Right. So again, let's circle back. The bean soup theory video, the original bean soup video, it was about a creator making bean soup for anemic girls who want to help alleviate period symptoms.
Yeah.
There are some honest questions in that video that could be asked. Why beans? Are beans the thing that are going to alleviate the symptoms? Is there something else I could replace it with to receive the same benefit without having to use beans because I'm allergic or whatever? But that gets distilled down to, I don't like beans. Give me something else.
Again, I want us to lead with curiosity.
Yes.
If you are anemic and you want to relieve period symptoms, but you don't like beans, you could just Google what else is good for anemia.
Yeah.
Get a little curious. Again, or try the recipe. And then if you hate beans, give it to your roommate. You know, you tried something new. Who's going to fault you for that?
How many times, I've seen this on Reddit. Have you ever seen on Reddit where somebody asks a question and then the first response is, dude, I Googled it and found it in the first section. Here it is. Like,
although I will say on Reddit, you want to hear what the people do.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, I Googled it and this is like the corporate answer that I got from the website, but like what actually works. So I do think Reddit is like, it kind of pisses me off actually when I see people respond like that on Reddit.
Yeah,
I'm like, they're
snarky.
coming to see what the people do. Okay, buddy?
I think what I want to end with this idea of like something not being for you doesn't make it bad.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think a lot of people misconstrue that. This thing isn't for me, therefore it is bad.
Yeah. Or you could include yourself. If somebody says, oh, people born in January are like this. They're super hardworking, but they kind of give you the cold shoulder. They're hard to get to know.
Right.
But that applies to you and you were born in March. You could just include yourself in that. You'd be like, oh yeah, I'm like the people who were born in January. They're not talking directly to me, but they kind of are because all of those qualities that they're describing applies to me.
Exactly.
It's a little bit like when women say, women sometimes will get frustrated by the state of capital M men and complain about men. And I engage in that.
You do.
I like that. Need to do it. I need to let off some steam. Men are very frustrating. And inevitably, if you do this on the internet, there are always comments saying, not all men, like I'm a man, I don't do that. Like I'm raising a son, my son isn't like that. And that's great. Then it's not about you.
Yeah.
If you genuinely, if somebody says, well, all men kill people, but you've never killed somebody and you're a man, just don't include yourself.
Right.
They're not talking about you. But if you have, and you've never told anybody,
maybe do some
you might be included in that group.
Maybe do some self-reflection. Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. I've heard you talk about capital M men before, and I've never taken offense to the things that you've said because I'm your partner. I'm I'm your man. And I know if you wanted to address something with me, you would do it directly. And you're not talking about me.
Well, and if I hated you, I don't think I would be living with you.
Exactly.
But I don't know. The way some people run their relationships, it seems like they do.
Yeah. Well, Lindsay, is there any more closing thoughts you have about bean soup theory?
I kind of want to try that bean soup recipe.
So do I.
I know.
We both like beans.
I love beans. I also, maybe part of this is like, I just can't connect with people who don't like beans. I'm like, are you out of your mind? Not even a bean dip? A little tortilla chip dipped in there? A little bit of spice? What about chickpeas? What about hummus? What are you talking about? What about bean paste? What about mochi? Get real.
There we go.
What about a black bean taco? You've never had a black bean taco? You've never had a burrito bowl?
So in the comment section of this video, we want to hear what you have to say about bean soup and your best bean recipes.
Yeah.
That's most of what we're
Tell
looking
us what
for.
you think about legumes and also detective movies, I guess.
Yeah. Lindsay, thank you so much for talking with me about this.
I'm Lindsay.
And I'm Connor.
And this has been a chit chat with the Ribbit Rats. Thank you so much for chit chatting with us.
We hope you enjoyed this episode, and we especially want to thank our coffee members. Thank you so much to our coffee members who go support us on Coffee. Over there, they get some special smaller episodes that we call our Sit and Sips. Smaller episodes that don't make it to a full hour, a 2-hour thing, and we just want to talk about it anyway and hang out with you guys.
Yeah, nice little 20-minute segment.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
We love the community over there. Everybody sends us really nice messages, and we like interacting.
I love compliments.
So shout out to our coffee members. You'll see a list of their names appearing on the screen right now.
We also have a topic suggestion box in our description. So if there's a topic you want us to cover, you drop it in there, and baby, we just might do it.
I think this might have been a topic suggestion. I know I've seen comments about it, but I'll have to check the topic suggestion box and credit anybody. Thank you so much for watching. If you like and subscribe. We post videos like this every single week. Other than that, I think it's everything. She's Lindsay. I'm Connor. And we'll see you next week.
And I'll see you in 2 seconds.